here's a question of the day. What actually happened in the Andrew Bayley incident? This is the question. Let's have a look at the story from One News tonight.
National's Andrew Bayley has resigned as a minister after putting a hand on one of
Resigned as a minister. 180k to sit on the backbench and do nothing, remember?
his staff. It's the second incident in the last few months for the now former Commerce and Consumer Affairs Minister after he admitted in October to calling a winery worker a loser. Here's the timeframe of what unfolded and when for the latest incident. The altercation...
I'm going to be a bit judgy here. He's such a smarmy little cunt, isn't he? I mean, honestly, just reeks of looking down his nose at people. Honestly, that's how it vibes out to me.
Occurred in Bayley's office last Tuesday, February the 18th. The following evening, the Prime Minister's office staff were informed, along with ministerial services. Sometime on Thursday and Friday, discussions took place with the affected parties and Christopher Luxon was told about it. Then on Friday...
Hang on. So there was an incident that the ministerial staff didn't share with the Prime Minister. What, it's like they couldn't disturb him because it would ruin his night's sleep? Why would you...
Evening, Bayley resigned. Political editor Mikey Sherman is standing by live with more on the fallout. Her report first.
Under the glare of the hot afternoon sun, Andrew Bayley and his small support crew made the long, dreaded walk towards media to announce the end.
Hey, Mikey, you're being a little bit dramatic here. This is not a death row inmate coming up, just a little bit dramatic. I mean, it looks like you've maybe flared the camera as well, a little bit more light in. I'm just saying, I mean, love your work, a little bit dramatic.
End of his ministerial career.
There are times when you have to hold yourself to account.
And I decided to do that several days after I technically assaulted a staff member.
But it wasn't last year.
Today is one of those days. I have made the personal choice to resign as a minister.
As opposed to the corporate choice? What the personal choice? Are you wanting to make it clear that this is all on you, as opposed to what other choice would it be?
And I've offered my resignation to the Prime Minister, which he has accepted.
Bayley admitted to, quote, overbearing behaviour last week during an animated discussion with a staffer in his office.
I took the discussion...
Otherwise known as workplace bullying? Overbearing? But is bullying going to be an accurate term? Do you know what I just thought, Chewie? Just right now, and I'm sorry, Whānau, for being such a moron. Last Thursday, the House was still in. Questions in the House. This happened last Tuesday. Me wonders right now as we're sitting here if this potentially is the delay for the release. Imagine if this had come out last Tuesday, Wednesday, when the House was sitting. Now you're thinking. Now you're thinking.
Too far. And I placed the hand on their upper arm, which was inappropriate.
Asked what animated meant.
Lively.
And
animated means two-dimensional, so I'm not quite sure if you're using that correctly. Lively? Lively. You mean as the position of power, as the man, as the individual in the room with power, being loud and aggressive towards one, that's lively. Lively.
Can I also point out, maybe it's me reading too much into this. I placed my hand on their upper arm. We're leaving gender out of this, are we?
Yeah. Yep. I don't know. I actually rewound it.
Important?
I rewound it to see what it was, and it was there. It was non-gender specific. There have been people in the chat intimating what gender or what sex the person was, but I don't know if that's been confirmed just yet.
How he grabbed the staffer.
I held their arm.
Bayley explaining he was simply, quote, impatient to drive change in his portfolios.
So get this. So because he was impatient to make massive changes to his portfolio across the whole country, he thought he'd grab someone in his office. Come on. Come on, media. Do your fucking jobs.
Have you been aggressive like that in other situations?
I've never had anything like this happen before.
I think it's...
Oh, now what does that mean, though? I've never had anything like this happen before. What, being called out for it? Having to quit for something? Or the actual action? I'm genuinely saying I don't know the answer to that, but it's worded in a very interestingly way there, Chewie, if you ask me.
I'm also Remember one of the criticisms thrown at female politicians or female leaders is that they're too emotionally unstable to be in that role. This guy couldn't handle the fact that the shit wasn't moving fast enough in his portfolio, with no examples given of what. Look, it was a life or death thing, and this person was dragging their heels. No, we don't get that. I'm frustrated because things don't move to my timetable. So I shook someone.
Yeah.
I grabbed them. I physically assaulted them. Yeah. And then I've had a big think about it for a week, and my boss hasn't done anything. So I'm a go. I'm go now.
And just quietly, if there is any politician right now that I look at and think they're fast moving, Andrew Bayley would not be at the top of my list. He doesn't reek of speedy and haste, kind of more the opposite.
I've never had anything like this happen before.
I think it's good that he recognised that he didn't meet his own standards. I think.
Now remember, right? I think to the left of Mr. Luxon is the police minister. I'll say this again, media. Why did no one ask the question? Minister for Police, Mark Mitchell. Does this rise to the level of technically an assault? No one asked the Minister for Police, who was just off screen there, just kind of where I am. Can I get my shoulder lined up with him? No, I can't. Didn't ask the question though.
It's it's good that he then reflected on that.
But that reflection wasn't entirely self-initiated. In fact, the day after the staffer incident, it was business as usual for Bayley, who did an interview with One News.
Far out. That's quite the timeline. I wasn't aware that he was doing public interviews whilst all of this was going on.
Once a complaint was laid that evening, the reflection truly set in and follows a separate complaint last year after Bayley humiliated a wine worker during a ministerial visit.
Did he call the worker a loser?
Yes.
We've now got ministers sacking themselves when the Prime Minister should have showed some leadership and done that months ago.
It's a hypothetical because I didn't have to go there because he most importantly had recognised that his behaviour hadn't met his own high standards.
Bayley will...
It is strange how he said twice his own high standard, eh? Mr. Luxon, can we be drawn on, is it also outside your standard? Because why do you keep saying his standard? Like, what does it even mean? The cabinet standard? The cabinet handbook standard? My standard I expect? No, you chose to go with his own standard. So what if someone's own standard was well beyond where yours was? Would you let them resign or not based on their standards, even if you think so? It's just quite a strange way. Maybe he's trying to distance himself. It's a strange wording, Chewie.
You could try this yourself in your own workplace tomorrow. Just grab a colleague, co-worker, maybe someone that works under you, give them a good shake because they didn't do something fast enough, and see how long you get to think about what you've done.
Maybe like the rest of your career.
The Andrew Bayley challenge. If you get to a week later without being sacked, you win.
Yeah, there we go.
Remain as the MP for Port Waikato.
As far as I know.
Why?
It's been okay. It's probably a good idea if he's not really coping with the job.
With his political career in free fall, the question is why he resigned on Friday and it was only made public today.
To be honest, I would have had difficulty doing this interview over the last couple of days.
Oh, he's a victim, Chewie. Come on, all you right-wingers who love to get online and tell everyone where they're soft and they're cucks and stuff. Well, he would have been... He's the one that's facing the worst thing in this, Chewie, not the person who he... technically assaulted, put his hands on, but he's the one. It's him, Chewie. Aww. Tear. Little tear.
Yes, I've had to talk to my family, and that's why I've made the decision, and that's why we're announcing it today.
The now former minister calling it a day.
Calling it a day.
There you go, Chewie. We won't do the after about.
Right, so let's take stock of Andrew Bayley, right? Yeah. Now we've got one of our right-wing croutons in the chat at the moment, drawing all sorts of parallels between
welcome
Kitty Allen,
Yep.
I urged him to check the timeline of what happened with Kerry Allen, how long it took for her to come forward, how long it took for decisive action to be taken, and just the very different circumstances in general. There's no direct comparison there.
But can I just say, can I offer one thing? Sorry, can I offer one thing? Because I'm sick and tired of this whataboutism. Kerry Allen can be a bad situation. Kerry Allen can be wrong. Kerry Allen can need to go, and so can this guy. Like, you go back and check the tape with me and Chewie talking about things like Kerry Allen. Yeah, we pointed out how bad it was. So we're not going to get caught up in the whataboutism where people go, but what about? It's like, yeah, that was bad. This is bad. You know what we're talking about today? This. Because you know when Kerry Allen happened? We talked about that then. Now we're talking about this. So stop trying to deflect from this, because we did talk about that at the time, and now we're talking about this.
The other aspect is, we can talk about another Labor, and again, this wasn't good for Labor. We were very, very vocal about it at the time. Michael Woodhouse's shares.
Yep.
You know, that was something that like, it was embarrassing. It dragged on way too long. Guess what? Andrew Bayley again.
Yeah.
Sitting on more shares than Woodhouse had, and for longer, still there. And then his winery debacle that dragged on and on and on, no decisive action for the leader, still there. So this guy just keeps coming back for more punishment, like a fucking albatross around Luxon's neck. No decisive action taken. No sign of leadership, because we were talking about a jellyfish in a suit, can't make a fucking decision. He's very vocal on record whenever someone on the other side, when Labor was in government, that they needed to go, that if Hipkins was a decisive leader, they'd cut him loose now. The shoe's on the other foot, everything's reversed. You don't get that from Luxon, because he's a weak operator, he's a weak leader, he's not very good at this, he's not a great politician. He's never been a good leader. He doesn't have those instincts. There's no evidence of it in his previous career. You can talk to people that worked in Air New Zealand during his tenure. They've got some pretty strong opinions of the leadership of Luxon. And we put that at the wheel of an entire country. And why are we surprised when we get this?